Welcome back. And today we are going to be talking about combat in Everwind. Now, to narrow down the scope of this video, because there's a lot to cover, I am only going to be talking about armor and weapons. I'm going to very briefly touch on tools, but they're not related to combat, so it's just going to be a quick in-passing thing. I am not going to be talking about staves, and I am not going to be talking about potions. So, let's get started. Alright, so first up, we're going to be covering armor. Now, I have been able to either acquire or at least discern the existence of 6 categories of armor. Now, within those categories, there are subcategories, and I'll mention them quickly when we get to them. First up, we have wood armor. Now, this wooden armor is actually the easiest one to get because you acquire it in this very room. I think it's over in this area right here. I've kind of moved some things around, but this is like the starter armor. You can, of course, craft it, but once you get something better, you'll move on to it quickly. And you will, probably before leaving the island, craft leather armor. Leather armor is made out of hides. Pretty much every mammal in the game drops hides. So capybaras, wild boars, bears, they all drop hide. And they all can be crafted into leather armor. So, if you're diligent about going around the starter island and killing all the capybaras, you can get enough hide to craft leather armor before you even leave the island. Now, up next, this is our first, like, really heavy-duty armor, is copper armor. Now, as you can see, hold on, there it is. Okay, so you see that little glint? I wanted to also mention that in this game, that is not because it's copper. That is the enchanted aura. This armor is enchanted, and I will be talking about enchantments in a moment. But I just wanted you guys to see what the aura looks like so that you would know that when it doesn't have an aura, that's normal. And that glint, that is an enchantment. It's like a white shimmer. And now, of course, we have on the next category is bronze armor. Now, I've not been able to obtain bronze armor, but I know it exists. Well, I should say I've not been able to obtain the chest piece. I know it exists because I have the helmet here, and I've also acquired the gloves and the boots. The next category is iron armor. Now, there are subcategories of iron armor. This is forest skeleton iron armor, and there is also desert skeleton iron armor. It has been my observation that the desert skeleton armor is slightly better on the boots, gloves, and helmet. I don't know if the body armor is better because I haven't gotten a desert chest plate yet. I've only gotten the forest armor chest plate. And then, well, this one I haven't acquired yet. I haven't seen a piece of it. But there is a place in the game where you can see this 6th category of armor. In this video, you can see this character is wearing ancient metal armor. This is actually the video for the glider, or hang glider, which is a device that you can acquire in the game, but it is exceptionally difficult to acquire. And I was actually able to obtain a pair of ancient steamer boots, so the steamer armor was in the demo. Okay, so up next, I want to talk about weapons. Now, weapons are a little more complicated than armor because there are lots of categories and subcategories and variations. And, each weapon type has different mineral types that it can be made of. They can be made of wood, they can be made of iron, etc. So I'd be here all day if I went over them. So I'm just going to cover the 5 broad categories of weapons. And this is just a category system that I created for the purposes of simplifying this video. So the first category, this is the only item in that category, and that is the ancient pipe. You start the game with this pipe. When you spawn in, it drops out of the sky next to you, and so it's your first weapon. And I just put it in its own category because I didn't really know where else to put it. It's kind of a weapon unto itself. It's the only one you get in the game, and it's kind of unique, and it really kind of sets a tone because it's made of the ancient metal, so it kind of sets a tone for the game. But there's actually a much better weapon for you to start the game with. In a shack out and back of the tutorial tower, you can find a copper longsword, which does an impressive 10 to 12 damage and has 180 durability. This is far better than the starter pipe. I don't know if it always spawns there, but it was there in every one of my playthroughs. And the starter island is pretty static, so I feel confident saying that it's going to be there for you as well. Beyond that, the other 4 categories are dual wielding, which is daggers, one-handed weapons, which are swords, maces, and stuff like that. Or they don't call them maces, they call them bludgeons. Two-handed weapons, and archery. So I want to talk about archery real quick. So archery is kind of, I don't know, a little weird. These are the 4 types of bows that I have been able to find. So we have the stick bow, which is something that you can very easily craft. You can make one before leaving the starter island, because it's just sticks and fiber, or sticks and rope, or string, or something like that. Which string and rope are both made out of fiber, so it's basically just sticks and grass, and you can make this. It's a very basic bow. 7 to 8 damage early game is actually pretty good. And beyond that, there's also the wooden bow, which you'll probably most likely find as a drop from skeletal archers. The copper reinforced bow, which I found the recipe for this, and the bronze reinforced bow also found a recipe. Now, if you're paying attention, you'll notice that these 3 weapons have perfectly identical stats. I don't know what the point of this was. I don't know if this is a glitch, or if they wanted to obscure the stats of these 2 higher bows to kind of, I don't know, save something for the final release, because they didn't want us to know how OP archery can really get. Also, I've noticed a lot of the perks, even the ones that don't explicitly state that they are melee. Like, there's some that explicitly say, add damage to your melee attacks. There's other perks that don't say that, and kind of imply that it applies to all damage. They still don't apply to archery. I with all of these bows, I only ever do 10 to 11 damage. Unless I do a headshot, then I do 15. And I do a little bit more on a crit, like maybe 20. So, I don't know if they have intentionally nerfed archery or if it's a glitch. This playthrough that I'm currently recording this on was specifically an archery build, and I really tried to make him good at archery. I thought, oh, I got a bronze bow. When I crafted the bow and I saw how much damage it did, and it's like, well, I already had that. It's kind of disappointing. So I don't know if this was by design or if it's just glitched. And then, of course, there's different kinds of arrows as well, but you'll notice it just says wooden arrow, copper arrow, bronze arrow. They don't tell you what they do. And I've tested with all of these. There's no discernible difference in damage when you use these. And also, there's a perk that when you kill an enemy, they drop arrows. But it doesn't matter if you use a copper arrow or a bronze arrow or a wooden arrow, they only drop wooden arrows. So if you kill something with a bronze arrow, you're only getting a wooden arrow back. I'm like, well, why would they do that? So there's a lot going on with archery here. And I also have this +1 wooden bow. This is the best bow I've found because of the +1. This makes this wooden bow better than both of these, which required me to find recipes, rare recipes to craft them. All right, next, we're going to talk about weapon modifications. Now, there's no way in the demo to modify your weapons that I've been able to find. There have been mentions here and there of modification stations, but I haven't found a recipe for one. I haven't found a modification station, so as far as I know, that has not been implemented in the demo. But you can find weapons that already have modifications on them. So I have 5 tiers here of modifications. The first tier is just your basic weapons. You got your shields, you got your tools, weapons, and of course armor. And I'm just showing you guys so you can get like an idea of what a basic information box looks like on weapons and tools and armor. Right? It's the name, on weapons it shows you how many hands it requires, and then on it shows you on weapons the damage, the durability, everything shows the durability, and it shows you the level, that the star next to the durability where it says advanced and over here it says novice. That is what level of like novice you can use from the start of the game, but like this advanced weapon, you need the advanced weapons perk to be able to use it. I think that might be the only advanced weapon I have in this chest. Oh, and advanced armor. There's also an advanced armor's perk. So the boots and this long axe, you won't be able to use those until you get those perks. But everything else in this chest, the bronze stuff, the copper stuff, you can use that at level 1 if you find one, if you're that lucky. All right, so this is tier 2. Now, tier 2, you see how they say special effect on them? I put these here because I don't know if this is a glitch or not. I don't know if it's supposed to be like this. All of these weapons originally said that they increase chance to crit. Like this one said 9%, which is huge. And I'll show you why in a minute, why 9% on a weapon like this is such a big deal. But as you can see, they've all disappeared. Even this one. And I'll explain what the +1 is in a minute. That's something separate. But this is just I don't know if this special effect thing is this increased crit is a glitch, that these weapons are not supposed to have this. I don't know. But this is what I wanted to show you side by side of this has it, this one does not. So you see that there is a difference, that they're displaying the special effect at the bottom of the information window. I don't know what's going on here, but I decided to put this in a separate category in case this is a thing that exists, that sometimes you just get, like a keen dagger. All right, so as I mentioned a moment ago, +1. All of these are +1s. I've only found +1 items in the game. And according to the tips that play during the loading screens, there is a tip that says that this bonus can go all the way up to +10. So in weapons, it's pretty straightforward. It just gives you a bonus to damage. On things like stone swords that have just a standard 6 damage, a normal stone sword does 6 to 6. See where it says 6 to 7? A normal one does 6 to 6. So it just adds it to the maximum damage. And same thing with stone daggers. I don't know if that's how it applies for all of this stuff. Because like you see these wooden weapons, they still say 2 to 2 and 3 to 3. So it seems to be applied inconsistently. For tools, I have no idea what it does. None of the numbers changed. The copper axe does 1 extra point of damage. Because I believe a regular copper axe only does 4 to 4. You see it still says 3 to 3, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. I don't know if there's any value in having a plus on a tool. Because I've tested it, they don't seem to dig faster. Or chop trees faster, or what have you. And then, of course, there's armor. The armor one is very, very visible. And it's odd, because, like this bronze chestplate, for example, let me show you guys something here. So, alright. I'm going to take these boots off and this armor off. So you see my armor rating is 0 now, right? So if I go and put this on, it goes up to 15, right? So this has a +1, so you would think it would go up to 16. But it goes up to 17. So apparently the +1 is applying twice. Because if a normal one's 15 and this is a +1, so it goes to 16, where's the extra +1 coming from here? It says 16. Why is it 17? So pluses on armor is like extra good. And I don't know if that's by design or by accident or what, but I'm not complaining. If they want to give me +2 instead of +1, I feel like there's still some stuff that needs to be hammered out in this enchanting and modification system yet. So don't put too much stock in this. I'm sure they're smoothing it out, and when the full release comes out, all of this will be squared away and working properly. All right, so our next category is just full-on enchanted items. These items you see have different enchantments on them. This is corrosion. It reduces the defense of your target, which is always nice to have. Sharpness, and this is what I wanted to point out. You see the sharpness enchantment increases the critical hit by 2%. So having an unenchanted dagger that I crafted myself with 9% is kind of wild. Because then I could put this enchantment on it, put it up to 2, up to 11. So, and I don't know. I don't know if those special effect weapons are glitches or not. So that's why I put them in their own category. I didn't know if what their purpose was or if they were glitches. But I put this weapon separate because I want to talk about this weapon for a second. Now, this enchantment, Doom, instantly kills enemy with 20 HP or less. Does not affect bosses or mini-bosses. Well, you're not going to use this kind of a weapon against a boss or a mini-boss. But what this weapon and this enchantment is actually really good for is, you know what has less than 20 hit points? Capybaras and pheasants. Boars do not, and bears do not. But even at full health, you can just instantly kill pheasants and capybaras. So if you want to go around on an island with this sword and just quickly just clear out an island and then scoop up a bunch of XP, it's 5 XP per kill, but you'll get them so fast that you'll walk out of there with like 100 XP in like 30 seconds. So this is a really nice early game weapon. Later game, you're not going to need this because you're going to have weapons that even without an enchantment just do more than 20 points of damage. So they'll, just by virtue of being powerful, automatically kill pheasants and capybaras. But maybe you still want to keep this around just as you don't want to waste your weapon durability. Like if you've got some ancient metal weapon, you don't want to waste weapon durability on a capybara. So you use this instead. These are what I call pig stickers. And this is our final category. And you see now why the other chest didn't have very many items in it. It's because they're all over here. These are items that are enchanted and have a +1. So you can have one or the other, or you can have both. And these are quite powerful items. You see I got a copper bludgeon here. Now, the thing with the bludgeons, they don't, other than the iron one and the ancient metal one, they don't really do a lot of damage. And then there's just this sudden jump in power when you get to iron, or when you get to ancient metal, because the iron one's even higher, and I don't know why that is. I'm guessing that they're probably still rebalancing this stuff. See, like these all do 6 to 7 damage. I don't know what is, but then this one does 2, right? So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah. So those are the different 5 categories. You've got your regular, special effect, which might be a glitch. Your +1 items, your enchanted items, and your enchanted +1 items. All right, so we're back down here with the weapons because I want to talk about what is probably the most important part about this, because this is a video about combat. So far, I've told you about the equipment, but I haven't really actually talked about combat, about fighting. And so now we're going to talk about tactics. Now, like I said, archery, it's point and click, so there's not really a whole lot to do with tactics there. This is more about, this is a Batman build. It's preparation. You build your character right, you have the right perks, and when you get there, you click and you shoot and everything dies. But these weapons, they have tactics. They have different skills that you can use. And so I'm going to demonstrate with my iron spiked bludgeon, and I'm also going to equip my iron reinforced shield. All right, so these are the basics of combat. First, let's talk about the defensive stuff. You hold down your right mouse button to block. You can do this with one-handed weapons and use your shield, or you can do dual wielding. Let me show you. You can do a block with your weapons, and you can also do a push, which with one-handed, it's a shield bash. Now, I've found that the shield bash has to be pretty well timed, because it doesn't do damage. What it does is it staggers your opponent for like half a second. And that opens up a window where you can just wail on them. Now, of course, we have our basic attack. We have our combo. And then we have our combo with the finisher. And the finisher's cool because, watch this. See how I hit the adjacent target? Oh, I also forgot to mention, I put on some jewelry that increases my crit chance, so I can actually do some crits on these dummies. See if I can get a crit here. Ah, there. See? 77. That's pretty good. Let me see if I can do a crit with the Big Daddy. Come on. Just give me one crit. Just 70, 77, 72, 74. There we go. 200. You see that? That's nuts. But it's only a 10% chance. Because I've got 5% from this and 5% from this. And there's another purple amulet that I found that gives you an 8%. So you can have up to, in the demo anyway, you can have up to a 13% chance from your jewelry. Now, these moves are not all available right away. There is one other move that I didn't show you guys because it requires my target to be attacking me, and that is the Parry Master move. And this is where you can kind of like knock your enemy's weapon away, and that leaves them open to a hit. You get this at the earliest level 7 because it's on the second row. So you need to have at least 5 ranks up here to unlock this one. So you starting from level 1, you have to level up 5 times to get, so you'll be level 6, and then on your 7th level you can purchase this. And then the same thing also applies to the finishing combo. This, the earliest, for the same reason, because you have to have 5, 10, 15, so you'll be level 16, and then on level 17, you'll be able to purchase this. And that's how you get the finishing combo. Alright, so that is the combat system. Obviously, when the full game comes out, I will be updating this video with any new stuff that's in there. But in the meantime, thanks for checking out my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.